This week on The Gadget Show.
How famous can you become on the internet in just 3 weeks? Suzi and I find out by, well, trying to become as famous as we can on the internet in just 3 weeks. And the results are utterly extraordinary.
I'll bet you 20 I can caterpillar that whole pedestrian crossing.
Find out how tonight.
Also this week, Jon enlists the help of Radio 1 DJs Bobby and Nihal to find out what is the best music phone you can buy.
I just think it looks really nice.
And we bring you an important update on our Broadband Truth campaign. If you've got broadband, this does affect you, so stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to The Gadget Show.
This week we've been attempting a challenge that had the potential to embarrass both me and Suzi. In fact, it could have ended in a disaster.
Yeah, but at least for one of us, it has been the most successful thing we've ever done.
Don't give the game away, Suze, because some people might not have been on YouTube for a couple of weeks. They might not have seen the furore, and I chose that word specifically, on the internet.
What, that you're a global internet superstar now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, this quite extraordinary challenge started a few weeks ago on the streets of London.
Our challenge to increase our internet fame as much as we possibly could, by whatever means necessary. How we went about it was up to us.
More and more people are finding fame on the internet. Simply by posting themselves on websites like YouTube and MySpace, a whole new generation of wannabes have found massive audiences. The most popular clips have been watched millions of times, and the world's most successful blog hit 100 million page views by July 2007.
What do you think is the most popular, most watched video ever to go onto the internet?
Paris Hilton.
No, it's not. Let me give you a clue.
Yeah?
Grab this thing. Hey?
Baldy man, pot pie hat, fishing rod, river dance type thing.
No, although that's a very good idea. Especially the river dance. No, Star Wars Kid.
Star Wars Kid is a Canadian schoolboy. We can't show the video for legal reasons, but all he did was to film himself going through a few lightsaber moves in his school drama room using a golf ball retriever. His mates put the video on the net for a laugh, and now it's been viewed an estimated 1 billion times. Now that's fame. We'd each been challenged to create some cracking web content and to see who could get the most hits in a 3-week period. Our audience was definitely out there. We just needed to find a way to hook them. Unsurprisingly, we had very different ideas about how to go about it.
For me, you know, it's about content. A simple idea, well executed. Yeah, that's what I enjoy watching. Look at this. Okay, this is one shot, all right? No editing, no tricks, just a guy with a really interesting skill. It's been seen by 2 million people in 2 months.
You know, every day on YouTube, 100 million clips are watched. There's 108 million websites and 30 billion web pages out there on the internet. And I think being good in amongst all that content just isn't good enough. To be seen, I reckon you've got to have marketing, Jace. Take the $1 million homepage, for instance. Last year, a 21-year-old student made $1 million from selling advertising space on his homepage. But it only got as big as it did, as quickly as it did, because of marketing. I mean, the man made so much money, he was able to employ an agent in the States who got him half of his sales. You know what, there's been loads of copycats since this. None of them have made any money, really, because no one's ever heard of them. And marketing doesn't only mean selling stuff. Lonely Girl 15 hit the spot putting her personal life on the net via video blogs on YouTube.
Yeah, but she was a fake. She was an actress pretending to be a real person.
Exactly! It was the clever marketing that exploited people's desire for content. Even when they found out that there were management companies and writers behind that girl, it didn't make any difference. And now it's the world's most popular interactive drama.
Fine. Fine if what you want is mass-marketed, soulless fiction. Log on, all right? But for me, the internet, it's about the people. You know, it's the medium of the masses. It's egalitarian. Anyone can be famous. What about that Numa guy, for instance? I mean, he's huge. There are loads of copycat lip-sync sites dedicated to that guy. In fact, he's just got an agent.
This lot don't need PR. This fame is about being recognised for being real, even if that's a bit dirty and not very glam. Look here on Facebook, there's a group set up in honour of Gordon, a 78-year-old homeless guy from Bournemouth who can actually tell the time without a watch. Over 10,000 people have joined it and Gordon's become a local tourist attraction. Try marketing that.
Not exactly aiming high, are you? I mean, I'm talking about some globally marketed serial drama and you're banging on about some old bloke from Bournemouth. It was no good. We were never going to agree. I was convinced that without top-notch marketing, only luck would make you a web celebrity.
I disagreed. With a bit of effort, anyone could have a slice of cyber stardom. The only way to settle this was for each of us to try our own routes and see which led to internet stardom. First, though, we each needed a good idea.
And it would seem the whole world thinks that a guy in a headband doing some stupid breakdancing is a good idea.
Yeah, well, if you don't know by now, Jason's video did go global. So I'll tell you what, we're going to give you a little sneaky preview now. No pictures, just the sound to see why it's been so successful. Have a listen to this. You know, just listening to the sound, it sounds like it should have been banned.
It does.
Anyway,
You're
we're going
right.
to show you the pictures very soon. But first of all, let's take a short break.
Now, I want to talk to you about music phones. Now, if any phone was due to shake up the music phone market, it's this, Apple's new iPhone. Basically, it's the latest generation iPod, the iPod Touch, with a phone included. But how good is it? To find out, I decided to test it against two of the latest offerings from the established players in the field, Sony Ericsson and Nokia. I'll be testing the phones with the help of award-winning Radio 1 DJs, Bobby Friction and Nihal, two people well aware of the importance of music phones.
We listen to MP3s. That's what everyone does these days.
It's the present and the future of how people want to consume their music and that convergence of technology.
First, the Apple iPhone. An impressive large touchscreen interface makes it really easy to use. It integrates seamlessly with iTunes, and 8 gig of flash memory is room for thousands of tracks.
One thing that's beautiful about this phone is the screen. I mean, you know, we've got loads of light coming down now.
It is very
And
clear.
it's still very clear indeed. I mean, it's clearer than a laptop, actually.
Surprisingly, the iPhone only has a 2-megapixel camera with no flash. The camera's not great, it doesn't do video.
It doesn't do video.
No, would that be a problem for you?
Everyone videos from phones these days.
Yeah, they do.
The majority of posts up on YouTube came through the camera phone. If that hasn't got one, I mean, maybe it'll stop people fighting in parks.
Next up, Nokia's N81. This also has 8 gig of memory and Wi-Fi, but despite being a more conventional phone, it boasts a few things the iPhone doesn't, like 3G, that video camera, and built-in stereo speakers.
We could have a proper sound clash.
Yeah.
Because
With those guys over there. Here's a great example of a screen that isn't as good as the iPhones, because I can't see it at the moment. I'm just standing next to you, I can't see it. Nice, but not essentially a massive step. It's just the usual Nokia phone with extra loud speakers.
Finally, the latest Sony Ericsson to bear the legendary Walkman name, the W960i. This also has 8 gig of memory and Wi-Fi, and on paper it has the most impressive spec of the three phones, including a touchscreen interface with handwriting recognition and a 3.2 megapixel camera with autofocus.
it's a photo of you two lovers. That's a
very
really,
nice screen.
really good photo.
This is a bit plasticky.
Yeah, they seem to have toned it down and not made a metal one for the music version.
It's a nice phone. It's light as well. It's very
It looks
light.
good. I just think it looks really nice.
I wanted to get on with testing the phone's music playing capabilities, so we retired to a local pub for a bit of downloading. Right, chaps, I think we should have a race. This pub's got free Wi-Fi, and I think we should take a phone each. So, Nihal, take the iPhone.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I got the iPhone.
Take the Nokia.
That's a sound system in a phone.
I'll take the Sony Ericsson. The test was to connect to the internet using Wi-Fi and then download a specific track to our phones. Apple, Sony and Nokia all now have their own online music stores, and the phones are designed to get you to their respective stores easily. I'd selected an Asian beat track called Electro Jugni by Swami for us to download, partly because it's one of Bobby and Nihal's favourites, but also because it's far from mainstream and would test just how good the music store's libraries are. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Using the iTunes button on the iPhone, Nihal was online and on the iTunes site in seconds, and he'd found the right track and started it downloading in no time at all.
I'm in.
It was much the same experience for Bobby with the Nokia N81. When he pressed the button, the phone immediately logged onto the Wi-Fi hotspot and took him to Nokia's music site. Again, the track Electro Jugni was easily found, and he started it downloading. Unfortunately for me, the Sony Ericsson wasn't nearly as efficient.
Oh, no, it's crashed. It has. It's stuck. It's just completely stuck in wireless LAN setup.
It couldn't download anything via Wi-Fi, despite us sitting right in the middle of a hotspot. I had to improvise. I used the phone's 3G connection instead to access the Sony Play Now library, though it's a more expensive way of getting online. Compared to the millions of tracks offered by Nokia and Apple, Sony's Play Now library is minuscule, and I couldn't find anything by Swami.
Sorry, no songs were found.
Done. Electro Jugany.
So, in our download test, the iPhone beat the Nokia and the Sony failed dismally. But how good are they all at playing music?
Now, the final test is for sound quality. It's going to be one of those sort of blind tests.
I'd brought the chaps to a top London recording studio with a top-quality sound system. I transferred identical copies of Electro Jugny to each phone and would be playing them through the studio's amplifiers and speakers.
Right, let's have a listen to phone number 1.
Wow.
Phone number 1 was in fact the Nokia, though throughout this test Bobby and Nihal were unaware which phone they were listening to.
Instant reactions to number 1.
It started off really kind of clarity of sound I thought was really good, and then suddenly as soon as all the different levels came in, the more layers that came into the track, the worse the kind of quality got.
The bass was really good, but it could be because there's big 24-inch bass bins in there. So
yeah.
that might not be the MP3.
Now, let's try another one. Number 2.
Phone number 2 was the Sony Ericsson. It had failed the downloading test. Could it redeem itself with its sound quality?
Definitely clearer, more expansive than the first one. You could definitely tell the mids, the highs, and the bass. There was space in between all the instruments.
You could listen to that, and as the track grew, as the layers were added to it, they didn't clash with each other, which is what happened in the last one.
And finally, phone number 3.
Phone number 3 was the iPhone that had impressed both DJs with its speed and style. Would it pass the music quality test?
That was interesting. That sounded really good at first. It just sounded like a bigger sound, but it was messier. 2 had clarity.
Yeah.
2 had pure clarity. 3 had a bit of oomph in it, and 1, forget it.
Bobby and Nihal were genuinely surprised to find that the Sony Ericsson had come out on top, that their beloved iPhone had been beaten into second place.
You know what? Now that you've shown it, okay, I will put up with that. I will put up personally, because I've got other ways of listening to music, I would put up with that slight degradation of sound quality just to have the iPhone, because it's just so beautiful to use and it was so easy to download tracks.
Oh, John, that gorgeous factor creeping in at the end of the iPhone.
Yes, people just fall in love with it, don't they, I think?
Right, G ratings then. I've got a feeling that the Sony Ericsson didn't fare too well with that test.
No, it's last place with the Sony Ericsson with just 2 Gs, because though it sounds really good, it's impossible to take to the internet over Wi-Fi.
OK, so second place.
Second place is the Nokia. It's a lot easier to use, but it doesn't actually sound that good, which is clearly a real problem for a music phone.
So the iPhone has won.
Yes, the iPhone's the clear winner with 4 Gs. What it does very well. And, of course, as you said, it's gorgeous.
In this week's challenge, the idea was for us to become as famous as we could by using the internet in just 3 weeks.
The winner? What, me? Come on. Well, we decided by the amount of hits that their various campaign websites get by the end of this show. So we'll show that later on. But from the very beginning, I always thought the idea was the most important thing. And looking at how it's gone, I was right.
I, on the other hand, thought that the marketing strategy would be pivotal to get the idea out there on a global stage.
Is that what you thought, Suze?
Yeah, that's what... Do you know what? We're somebody just run this film because he's absolutely unbearable this week.
Reach for the stars, Suze.
S Club 7, Jace.
My task then, to make a smash hit, hilarious video for the web. I wasn't supposed to be getting any assistance with how to do it, but, ever helpful, one of the Gadget Show team had found a bag of props in his car. Did I say helpful?
Skateboard. Oh, yeah, full of comedy potential. Oh, come on. Oh, brilliant. We're saved. Juggling balls. Hey, everyone loves a juggler. What is it with the car? What? Can I just explain something? This cat, OK, has been in the Gadget Show since Series 1, OK? And whenever he appears in anything, everyone always laughs. You're laughing now. What's funny about the cat?
No dodgy cats for me. I'd hired one of the UK's top internet marketing companies. They may not look glamorous, but they've had huge success with their web campaigns for brands like Comic Relief and Carlsberg. I confess, I'd expected some, well, glitz. But while their offices may not be the height of style, their success rates are. This is the guerrilla world of viral marketing. Instead of using a traditional ad campaign, the message is passed by email or on the internet between users. Right, is this our big plan?
This is stage 1 of our big plan.
Woo!
This is it. This is going to win it for us.
OK.
So as part of this multi-pronged attack...
Multi-pronged attack!
What we're going to do is have the game, and this is the concept for the game.
OK.
We're calling it Suzi Says, because that's exactly what you're going to do. As you say something, as you say speaker or TV, the user has to click on that.
And they get points?
They're going to get points. They're going to get points if they get the right gadget in time, and if they get the wrong gadget, they're going to lose points.
Ah. OK, right. Suzi Says.
I was doing my best with my props, but nothing was working. Yet there are lots of people who've achieved success on the internet without professional help. Who better to advise me than Charlie, a schoolboy who's had thousands of hits on his YouTube video, which is a masterclass on making a cup of tea.
Delicious.
OK, so I need to get to the essence, Charlie, of what makes a successful YouTube video. What's your secret?
Just has to be funny, really.
Today, I'm going to be showing you the ancient English art that is making a cup of tea.
Come up with a good title.
Right, OK.
Make sure you've always got a good title, because that's one of the first things people are going to see.
Give me an example of a good title.
Well, my cup of tea video was called How to Be English.
One tea bag into the mug.
A lot of the Americans went to go to look to that one straight away.
Charlie had given me some excellent advice. The idea's got to be good, and it needs a catchy title. But I was still struggling with what to do. Cats on skateboards? I was plowing the depths. Fortunately, I'd arranged to meet a real web aficionado whose rapping videos have attracted more than 300,000 hits on YouTube since April.
You're watching Bradley at work, and if you put in fastest rapper into Google, you come up right at the top of Google.
I do. You actually get a picture of me because of the connection between Google and YouTube. You get a still from the video, kind of like the one you got on the screen there. It's all about the tags, man. You've got to have the right things said.
So by tags, are you referring to these things here? So when you upload a video, there's a section entitled tags, and you whack in words that are relevant to your video.
Words that are relevant to you, and in fact, words that are slightly not relevant to you if you really want to get those good hits. You know, if there's someone doing something similar to what you're doing and they're getting the hits, you know, put their name in. You know?
Bradbur, you have really hit on something. It's all about the tags.
My marketing agency had already started to build my game, but I needed to do some work too. This is a gadget quiz, and in the final version, it would be me on screen asking the questions.
What I need you to do is basically kind of give a little bit of emotion and say camcorder or TV. I've got the list, so you'll be okay.
All right. How do you want me to do that? Do I do that straight, or do we want it a bit quirky or a bit sexy?
I think we need a little bit of sexiness, if that's cool. And action.
I'm Suzi Perry, and I love gadgets. After some hard work by the technical team, my quiz was ready to go live to thousands of gaming and social sites. But they hadn't finished with me. You said it was a multi-pronged attack, so where are the other prongs?
OK, well, we think you need to give a payoff at the end of the game, something to reward people for playing it. So we need you to come up with an idea for something a bit different, a bit special, that's all about you, that gets people to send it on to friends and encourages people to make it viral.
Is that unexpected? I thought I was going to come in, you're going to do everything for me. I've got to go make a video as a sort of thank you for playing the game kind of thing, as an incentive almost to get people to play the game, is it?
Yeah, and also something that will stand alone.
Yeah.
So if people don't want to play a game, if it doesn't work for them, that they can also get involved in Brand Suzi.
Brand Jason was going nowhere. One thing I knew for sure, it wasn't going to involve the cat.
You know what I found quite fascinating about my trip to that internet agency? The fact that they're going to use a game as a marketing tool. Now, I would never have thought that.
It's a really abstract idea, isn't it?
Yeah,
really clever.
random.
For me, it was more simple than that. It was just Charlie, just a likeable guy who sits there in front of his webcam and rambles on about his life. And yet it's really entertaining. Hundreds of thousands of people watch him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because he's very attractive.
Do you think that's what it is?
I think
is
it's
that
a part
the key
of it.
to success? OK, more on our challenge later in the programme when you'll see us getting to grips with the filming of our videos. And as you may have already guessed, our challenge has got a pretty impressive outcome.
Right, now I want to talk to you about your broadband. We launched the Gadget Show Broadband Truth campaign a couple of weeks ago to try and make internet service providers be a little bit more honest about the speeds that we are actually achieving on our broadband connections. It's all about the words up to. Internet service providers sell their service in terms of up to 8 meg, up to 4 meg, up to 20 meg, or up to whatever meg. The fact is, though, that most people's connection will rarely, if ever, actually achieve those top-line advertised speeds. So, how are we campaigning? Well, we've installed a speed tester on our website at 5.tv/gadgetshow, and we want all of you to go there, test your broadband speed, and then fill in a report form so we can build up a really good picture of just how big this problem is. Now, a lot of you have already been on the site and it's become very clear that this is a widespread problem. And since we launched the campaign a few weeks ago, it's become very apparent that a lot of other people think it's a big problem too. With our campaign now firmly underway, I set out to unearth some hard facts and figures about broadband speeds in the UK. My first stop was consumer publication Which. They recently conducted a survey of broadband speeds.
We did a trial among 300 of our members over a 2-week period. They ran the test we gave them at least once a day, and we found that typically they were actually getting only around a third of the speed they were promised, so 2.7 megabits per second rather than the 8 megabits per second that was advertised.
Consumer website Money Supermarket conducted a similar survey covering 43,000 broadband users. Only 21% of them got the speed they signed up for. Computer Active magazine also ran a survey of broadband customers and came to similar conclusions.
We found that about 60% of our readers didn't actually know that the speeds that they signed up to were what's called a theoretical maximum. They thought that's the actual speed that they were going to get, and I think they were very surprised when they found out that ISPs have this get-out clause in the small print that says they can basically deliver any speed they want without any kind of redress.
Who were the worst offenders?
Well, the interesting thing here is that there's no one ISP that stands out above the others for poor service on this level. The problem actually does relate to the network of cables and so on and so forth that's in the ground that all ISPs have to use. So really, it's a problem for the whole industry to address.
We're only a couple of weeks into our campaign, but moves are already afoot to make the ISPs change the way they sell us broadband, because Ofcom's consumer panel have now got involved.
Now, Ofcom are the independent regulator for the communication industry, and basically they have written to the chief executives of the leading ISPs. Now, I've got the letter here, and they say that while they are aware of the technical reasons for the up-to terminology that's used in advertising and marketing, they are looking for clearer information for potential customers.
But I had a number of questions that I wanted to ask the internet service providers myself. Of the 5 we contacted, only Virgin Media, the UK's leading ISP, gave us an interview. In particular, I wanted to ask them about their use of the term up to.
And if I'm offered 8 megabits, I want to get 8 megabits. It's only fair, isn't it? If I go and buy a dress, I want to buy the full dress. I mean, I don't want half a skirt. When are you going to drop up to?
We're going to keep using up to describe the kind of overall internet surfacing experience until we find a better way of communicating that. Right now, we think that up to is a good reflection on our core cable network of the kind of variations you get in broadband speeds. What we try and do on our website and with our customer agents is actually make it clear that the speed will vary depending on where you live. So the peak speed that you can get will vary, and therefore we do our best as Virgin Media to give people the fastest that they can do, and we try and be clear that that may not be the up to 8 megabits service.
What the consumer needs is a typical speed rate, isn't it?
It's very difficult to come out with these figures in a reliable way that people can use. I think the two important things are get the right information out at the start, and then also make sure that the surveys are that kind of information is available so people can see what's actually happening in practice. And then if we can really drive the next generation of broadband in, the speed issue will actually disappear altogether.
So the upshot of that is that Virgin Media, the UK's biggest provider of broadband, are no time soon going to take the phrase up to out of the way that they describe their broadband speeds.
Exactly, and what's worse is that we contacted BT as well, who are the second biggest provider, and they're quite happy with it. They're not going to take it out either.
And all of this as far as I'm concerned, flies in the face of what you're telling us. We've had loads of emails, haven't we, from people who aren't reaching 8 meg. I mean, OK, I don't sit there all the time looking at the speed of my broadband, but I'm telling you this, it rarely peaks at 8. I've never seen it up there. I've always seen it down at 2, 4, 6. That's the experience we're getting on email from everyone. This is a huge, huge problem. You know, together, we need you to help us. We need you to go on to 5.tv/Gadget Show, go and do the tests and everything, and tell us exactly what you're experiencing. But also, more than that, we need you, if you're not happy, to contact your service provider. Yeah. You've got to ring them up. You've got to tell them how unhappy you are, if you are, because it's just not fair. We're just not getting what we want. I'm going off. I'm very excited about this. I'm liking your passion. The bottom line is, all of these companies need customers. They need those customers to be happy with the products. We're all paying a lot of money for, hundreds of pounds a year. So, together, we can change this.
Now, I've got something to show you which I think is rather amusing and not a little terrifying. It's a computer program called Crazy Talk, which animates your photos and makes them talk. You import the photo like this, check the animation points on this diagram here, and then you can actually add some quite advanced facial settings. You can turn your eyes yellow or your mouth green. I don't think we'll do that. Then you record the words you want your picture to say, and they form a script on this timeline here. And you can either let it do the animation automatically, or you can introduce particular events. Here's a wink, for example. Does it work? Well, here's an animated me. It's either brilliant or terrifying. You choose. Now it's time for the focus group.
Each week in the focus group, John, Jason and I find the best gadgets we can in a particular category to present to our focus group. Then, in a particularly unscientific piece of market research, they tell us which one they think is the best. Now, this week, we're doing kitchen gadgets. So we have come to the Birmingham College of Food and Tourism. Thank you very much, chaps, with our budding Jamies, Gordons and Nigellas here to tell us which one they like the best. And Jason Bradbury, you may go first.
OK. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to a technical marvel, OK? The equivalent of redesigning the bicycle, all right? The kettle has finally evolved. Before I tell you the name of this kettle, I want to ask you a simple question. How long does it take to boil a cup of tea, do you reckon? Anyone? Any idea?
4 minutes.
3 to 4 minutes, yeah, about 4 minutes, all right? This baby, 3 seconds. Eh? 3 seconds! I'll actually demonstrate it, because after all, it happens so quickly, I should be able to carry on talking while I'm doing it. Whack it in there, plug it in, press the button, count until you see steam. There we go. 1, 2, 3. There's the steam. 3 seconds. Round of applause for the kettle. I think it deserves one. Obviously, the reason it's useful is that you're saving a lot of energy. According to the manufacturers, 65% less electricity is consumed when you use a kettle like this. Now, that means if everyone in Britain used one of these kettles, you could close down a nuclear power station. That's how green this product is. It's part of a whole new wave of, greener technology.
Now, personally, I don't own a microwave. I only use them when I go to my mother-in-law's to heat up coffee. However, even I can see the merits of this, which is called the Wave Box, and it's the world's first truly portable microwave. Now, the great thing about this is you can have all the benefits of microwaving wherever you take your car. You simply plug it in to your cigar lighter and get all the benefits of a full-power microwave, or even better, you can connect it direct to the battery. Right. Now, it does take a bit longer than an ordinary domestic microwave because it's not quite as powerful. So I'm going to put it in for a few extra minutes. 10. Right, fingers crossed. Now, it was designed by builders so that they can have sort of hot pies and drinks while they're out in the middle of tough construction work projects.
I think it's better to use a thermos.
You want a thermos? Yes, Right. Aha. Well, it feels hot-ish. Ow, too hot to hold. Right, now. Try that.
Yeah, it's hot.
So it does actually make your stuff hot, so it could be great at the end of a long walk, but designed by builders, so you'd expect it to take a bit longer than an ordinary microwave.
OK, chefs, you'll know better than anybody else that the words healthy and chips don't sit very well in the same sentence. However, this ActiFry just uses 1 tablespoon of oil. Now, all you have to do is you just chuck in your chips, 1 tablespoon, you just pour it over your food, like that, close it down, switch it on, press the timer and leave it. So what's happening now is that air is being forced up through the element at the back,
and the air will heat to a temperature of about 160 degrees, and that effectively is what is cooking the food inside. So it's taking tiny molecules of the oil and just covering the food, so you don't get that deep fat fried kind of heavy congested taste. You get a really light, healthy, nutritional meal. So the moment of truth, just open the top. Anybody fancy a chip?
Right.
Yeah. Oh. What do you think?
Pretty good.
Nice. Impressed?
Yeah, well nice.
Excellent.
After our demos, we let our expert focus group get hands-on with our kitchen gadgets, so they could really see how they all worked and come to their own conclusions.
The chip fryer's genius, I think.
The kettle would be my favourite one. It's a lot more useful in the household.
The microwave, didn't really like that one. It took too long. I'd definitely consider buying the kettle.
OK, well, it's time for the moment of truth. I want you to vote with your hands, and you're only allowed to choose one of our 3 gadgets. So, if you'd like to take away the microwave, put your hands up now. Oh, unanimous. Just the wrong kind of unanimous. All right, if you prefer the Tefal Quick Cup, the 3-second kettle, then please put your hands in the air now.
Oh, that's
1,
good.
2, looking good. So that's 6. Good. OK, and finally, the Active Fry. All right, the healthy option. Nice and high. 1, 2, 3. You're trying to confuse me over there. 4. OK, so the winner of our Kitchen Gadgets focus group is my Quick Cup 3-second kettle. Hooray! Now it's time to return to this week's challenge.
And it was one hell of a challenge. Jason and I had 3 weeks to become as famous as possible by using the internet.
Now, from the outset, I was convinced that everything I needed to become an internet star was freely available. I mean, you need a camera and a computer to edit your video on, but everything else, the important stuff, the viral marketing, is available to anyone. I'm talking about email, social networking, that sort of thing.
Whereas I was kind of taking a more professional approach, so I handed my campaign over to a professional viral marketing agency.
We now join Suzi as she attempts to film her video, which is just one part of her multi-pronged campaign.
And Jason, who hasn't even thought of what he's going to film yet. Don't take the mick. So now I had a web game, but I'd been challenged to make my own video which would pop up every time you played. I'd had an idea. Some of the most popular internet clips are voyeuristic ones in which celebs are caught with their clothes off, so I was going to strip. But we were going to make it look as though it had been filmed accidentally. This is the crew, the Gadget Show crew. We're in the studio today. We've dragged them in extra early on a Monday morning. Now, John, you're going to help me do this. You've got the monitor here, right? So you're going to basically do a piece of camera, finish a piece of camera,
right.
And Jess here will put the camera down on the table, but she leaves the camera running. I'm out here, not knowing the camera's running, taking my clothes off. So can you see me in the monitor now?
Oh, yes.
However, you, with your gadgets here, will be covering my modesty.
This is going to take practice.
It's going to take a lot of practice.
Finally, I'd come up with an idea which I thought was going to rocket me to fame, with no professional help at all. So my friend Rich came along to hold the camera.
I've come here to a retro clothing shop because it's time to go back to the 80s for my inspiration.
Back in the 80s, I was king of Lincoln's breakdancing scene. With my strip of cardboard and my bandana, I ruled the streets of the East Midlands. Now, at last, it was time to go global.
Back in the studio, John was getting to grips with my assets on the screen. Well, covering them anyway. When I do that and take my bra off, give it maybe 2 seconds and then I'm going to turn round. Now, at that point, you've got to completely obliterate the screen, pretty much. Right? We decided to go for a take. Even one frame of naughtiness could be frozen and posted on the internet, and that was the last thing that I wanted. Oh, no! We tried again. Go. Okay. 3, 2... And again. 1, turn. Oh.
No, damn.
Unfortunately, my spinning about on an old box wasn't setting London ablaze.
Companies have forgotten how to do it.
Then I remembered a move that was certain to catapult me to internet stardom. This is up-rocking. Back in the day, this was a challenge to every dude on the street to up-rock back as good as they got.
It's your move.
But no one seemed to get it, and I was running out of time. Just as I was getting desperate, I had a stroke of genius. With the Bradbury Breakdance honour at stake, I was going to try something so stupid it just had to work. This is my extreme caterpillar breakdance.
And is it for me?
Take 27, and finally we were getting somewhere.
I think that was quite discreet.
Okay, let's have a look.
Yay!
Well done! Nice one.
Right, please do that. Yeah.
Good little bit of hand movement from you there, Mr. Bentley, I think.
Thank you very much.
Right, let's get it on YouTube.
I was also feeling the heady rush of success. The human caterpillar was taking over London. Could this be my key to internet fame?
And that's it. Having edited our videos, they were posted onto the internet.
Now, all of that happened about 3 weeks ago, but, how did we do? Did we sink without a trace? Is Suzi the new Paris Hilton?
Find out after this break. Paris Hilton?
Yeah.
Welcome back. Now straight down to business.
Oh, yeah. This week, Suzi and I faced the challenge of becoming famous on the internet in just 3 weeks.
Well, those 3 weeks are now up. So before we show you the results, we're going to show you our campaigns.
Yes. Now, campaign, mine was just a video of me doing something stupid on the street, which I put on YouTube. And this is it, Extreme Caterpillar Breakdance, based on an old 80s breakdancing move that I used to do, except this time I've done it at the age of 40 around the streets of London.
You owe me 20 quid.
Was that real, that grunting?
Yes, it was
real
really
pain.
Well, the thing is, when I was like 16, it was all right. But, at the tender age of, your best part of 40, it was hurting my knees so much.
Bless you. Yeah. Anyway, my campaign was spearheaded and put together by one of the UK's leading viral marketing agencies, and it was a little bit more complicated. The agency made me this game called Suzi Says, and then it was virally marketed. It was seeded to lots and lots of different game sites where they thought it would be popular. You play the game, and then when you've finished, you get to watch my video, which was also posted out to all the video sites, including YouTube, for extra hits. We're not going to show you the entire video because it's quite long, so if you fancy watching my video or Jason's video, then go to 5.tv/Gadget Show, where we've got all the links posted up there for both of our campaigns.
Brilliant! Absolutely hilarious, Suzi
Well,
Perry.
do you know what, though? You couldn't see anything at all there. Some sites rated it over 18, and some of them it was banned. The only person that saw anything was Jon Bentley.
Which brings me neatly to the final results, Suzi. The tally is in. We're about to find out who has won the Internet Star Challenge. And, of course, to give us those results, the fairest and quirkiest judge for these kinds of competitions, Mr. Jon Bentley.
Thank you. I've got the final results here in my hand, but in order to do full justice to the nail-biting excitement of this internet battle, I've made a short film telling the story.
Brilliant.
Right, 3 weeks ago, both campaigns were launched, and Suzi's took off immediately. And after 6 days, Suzi was on nearly 40,000 hits, while Jason dropped ever further behind with just over 7,000. But then everything changed. Jason's video got on the featured page of the UK YouTube site, and the floodgates opened. After 12 days, Suzi had reached a highly respectable 100,000 hits. But now Jason had been #1 featured video on YouTube in the UK, Spain, Poland, Canada, and, most amazingly, America. His video had now been viewed by over 1 million people. And from then on, things just kept getting better and better for Jason. He took the final hit count 10 minutes ago, and here's the result. Suzi's campaign total is a very respectable 212,000.
Wow, well done.
But amazingly, Jason's videos passed the 2 million mark.
Hey!
And he's achieved the honour of being the 7th most viewed YouTube video this month in the world.
Fantastic.
The power of the internet, isn't it?
Yeah.
What
what about that, YouTube? I mean, you just made that really hilarious video. It was funny, really short little video.
Yeah.
And you just put it on YouTube and you've ended up with 2 million hits.
Yeah, although to be fair, obviously there is a lot of what I call guerrilla marketing behind it. So obviously with my blog and stuff, I made sure that I blogged about it a lot. I contacted other blogs that I've shared stories with in the past and told them about it. I went on Facebook, my friend Gilly on Facebook made a little club around it. So I got that kind of grassroots level sorted first, and I was very consistent with my message. I used all the taglines that I used in the original uploading of the video in all of my posts. So by the time Google got to it, it felt more significant than perhaps it was. And that essentially means that anyone with a webcam can do it, and they can do it to the world, which is great.
What a great experiment. But look, we need a bit of a personal performance here.
Come on.
Come on, Caterpillar. Mr. Caterpillar Man.
Right.
Make sure there was no wires holding you up, no body double, anything like that.
I'll just take my mic pack off.
OK.
So I don't damage myself. All right.
Here we go, then.
Cue the music. All right, here we go.
Well, while you're watching the Extreme Caterpillar Man, that's all we've got time for this week. Don't forget to watch us next week. Here's a little preview of what we've got on next week's show.
Not yet, Suze. You've got to do a bit of your video.
Oh, yeah, all right, then.